Good morning to baristas. There's an article in The Economist for June 2nd, 2012, The War Over Class War. And while not explicitly taking the GOP side and accusing Obama of being a Euro-Marxist, because the editors of even this publication are not US GOPers and hence have some intellectual honesty left, they nevertheless accuse President Obama of economic muddle for not knowing how a competitive economy works. That the more profitable private companies are, the more money they have to invest in new facilities and new workers. The ignorance is compounded, so the writer insinuates, when shrewd politicians like Al Gore play to the cheap seats by making his bid for the White House a contest between the people and the powerful, or upstart demagogues like Rick Santorum calling Romney's Bain Capital an example of vulture capitalism. In short, folks, it's class war only when you attack them. When they pillage you, loot you, throw you out of house, job, and future, it's just keeping the system open and competitive so that we all benefit. It's the free market, after all, not the fair market. And if you lose, it's the same old story. You're just a loser, without character, without the right genetic stuff to make it in the real world. It's the same old rhetoric of race and gender and class power of a century ago, but after the Nazis, they can't use eugenics. And after the civil rights movement, they can't openly use race, and if they play the white trash card, they'll lose their base among white working class people who are hurting and looking for scapegoats. To the core GOP voter, Romney is everything they want to be. Rich, successful, movie star, good-looking, white. If they can't be all this themselves, they can at least join with him in standing for the right things, not the losers who want to drag it all down. Those welfare queen hoes, their gang-banging felon boyfriends, the toothless white trash stinking up the waiting rooms of public clinics, the Muslims imposing Sharia law, the illegal aliens stealing jobs, the hippies and homos, all those who want to pull America down to their level, rob it of the rightness with God that made men like Mitt and America great. Said greatness giving it the moral right to plant the boots of heroes on every square inch of the planet and up the asses of bad guys everywhere. To destroy America, they need to wage class war, to make you think that capitalism is bad and the rich are evil. The Economist article here says the same thing as the Tea Party, just in a more subtle, nuanced expression. The Economist distances itself from the overheated rhetoric while embracing its idea. For instance, there is no law, no regulation, no economic compulsion for those competitive corporate entities to reinvest their capital back into new job-creating facilities, and many of them don't. The money's put into real estate schemes, hence the collapse of the economy, or squirreled into offshore accounts. Or when it does create jobs, these are substandard career opportunities in iPad making in China, stitching basketballs in Pakistan, or sewing cheap synthetic fabrics in the Dominican Republic. Nothing that will enable the American voter in 2012 to hold his head high over those benighted folks. The white rich of America must love poor dark people because they make so many of them. But they're waging class war not just on them, though, but on you. When they can buy elections through contributions from phony shell fronts called political action committees, they're practicing the same insider business model that gamed and wrecked their free economic system and are now out to game and destroy the free electoral system. In fact, with the second round of Citizens United giving outside corporations the right to game state elections, as in Montana, we clearly see that representative democracy in the U.S. is all but dead. Its existence a farce, a travesty of real life, like a stroke victim on life support. You just don't want to believe Granny is at the end of a rope. She's not dead yet! No, but she has no meaningful life either. There's nothing left to offer those around her, and it's doubtful if even that pathetic existence can be saved. The only thing left is termination, and that will be the crowning phase of the class dictatorship. When the tortured chambers of Chile of a generation ago are in full operation in the U.S. while the rich read Ayn Rand and Milton Friedman on exercise bikes. And you, silly galoons, will help them do it. As long as you can content yourselves that at least you're not a negroid in the projects, a genetic mutant from the hills have eyes, a Walmart shopper, even though the Waltons deserve their success, a hippie or a homo. But if the people who really run things, you are the same. Behind your back, they laugh at your pathetic patriotism, sneer at your Bible morality, ridicule your desperate attempts at family budgeting, scoff at your claim to racial equality with rich white boys with Ivy League names like Mitt. Not only are we in a state of class war, we've been in a very acute one for half a decade, and it's just about over. And the ones who don't deserve to win are doing so, not because they're winners, but because they play off your pathetic attempt not to be a loser. when the system they run is already based on your loss and keeping you in loss? Well, who can that be now on the YouTube line? Hello? Jesus Christ? Hey, don't let my featured friends know I'm talking to you. What do you have to say about the US today in 2012? That you've seen it all before? Well, I guess so when you're a couple thousand years old. The US Supreme Court and the Congress and the White House remind you of the temples of the scribes and Pharisees, whitewashed sepulchres full of dead men's bones, who deserved to fall just like the Temple of Jerusalem. And that's why it did. Just an empty shell full of flashing on dead air that collapsed on itself. No brick left standing on another, just like you said. The Roman legions were just an excuse. So what do we do about it? Get some whips and lash them out of the temple? Leave their robes of corruption in bloody shreds across their backs? Old Jesus has it nailed again.